You can't hear me fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 30 of the
Peas in a Pod
the
reacts.
pod. This is the Peace and Pod React. I'm looking at this grief stream and I want to watch it, but maybe for 31.
I have it on the TV behind me. I can tell you if something crazy is going on.
Okay. We're gonna react to Charlie Kirk was racist by the soy pill. I don't know how I decided on this one. I just saw it. So you're watching my stream?
Yeah.
Hey, it's me, the soy pill. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and carry the one. Yeah, it's been long enough. We can joke about Charlie Kirk now. No, but let me be completely honest and heartfelt
I
here.
should
I was joking
probably
about
lower it. Ignore that.
Charlie Kirk before we
Now we
even.
started.
Hey, it's me, the soy pill. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then carry the one. Yeah, it's been long enough. We can joke about Charlie Kirk now. No, but let me be completely honest and heartfelt here. I was joking about Charlie Kirk before we even knew if he would make it.
So glad
reason
we
this
resorted
video
to
didn't
React
come out the day he
content.
died is because I had to write it and record it. But why would others, or more importantly, me, a calm, kind, empathetic guy?
So now that we know that you have the mental fortitude of a 5-year-old, can we just disregard like this stupid fucking retard? Like,
Make jokes about someone who had people saying this afterwards.
Charlie was fearless, he was not defensive, and there was no hate in his heart.
If that's a question that
Wait.
needed answering,
No.
welcome to the internet, 4-year-old baby with an iPad. On your left is copious amounts of Japanese erotica, and on your right is the filing cabinet where we keep stingray death jokes about Steve Irwin, one of the most wholesome people in entertainment history. But Charlie Kirk was no
No,
Steve Irwin.
that's such an
he
old
was a
joke.
hog whisperer in
Yeah.
his own right, but there's a reason a lot of people didn't mourn,
It's so
but instead
old.
joked or even celebrated his passing. So let's dive into this Charlie Kirk fellow, his
I mean, I don't
life,
know
his
a lot
views,
about
his
Charlie
methods,
Kirk.
and what
It's just
reactions are
funny.
allowed under our new regime. Like most Americans, Charlie Kirk started his life modestly as the son of wealthy Republican donor parents. He grew up on Rush Limbaugh Republican talk radio, and by 17 was already writing for Breitbart News. He tried to get into West Point and was rejected, dropped out of community college after one semester,
Oh.
and forever touted college as a waste of time for no related reason. And just like you and
Oh, the
me, by
college
the time he
scam.
was 18, was connected to wealthy Republican billionaires who decided to fund his crusade in the
I can
form of
relate
his
to that.
right-wing propaganda movement,
Insta reels.
TPUSA.
I can relate to that.
This is the main reason anyone
Yeah.
has heard of Charlie Kirk. Turning point events.
Seven
where
can
he
relate
went
to that.
college
College is a
and
is a
made
scam.
students
Well,
and
not
tried
if
to
you have a
spread his
scholarship, if
views
you're paying
far and
for it,
wide.
it's a
So
scam.
let's look at some of his passionate
fair.
views, namely his titular racism. Yep, we're jumping right into it this time, since I got a bunch of comments on the Matt Walsh video for leaving all his worst racism till the end. Now, was Charlie Kirk a Klan member? No. He even
So
kicked
is
people
this
out
guy-
of TPUSA
is
for
this
being
guy-
too
is the soy.
racist.
His
Like
name
this
is the
employee
soy
who said,
pill.
I hate black people. Like, fuck them all. I hate blacks. End of story. Or this guy.
What's your opinion on
Don't clip
racism?
this.
I'm actually racist. I do feel bad for the American Negro. They do,
Only the
they do
American
have somewhat of a plight after slavery, and so I do support reparations, but I also support remigration, sending them back.
Huh, I wonder why
He
this
kinda
keeps
looks
happening
like
to TPUSA. But as far as we know, Charlie wasn't that bad. See, look, he's sitting next to a black guy. But he was racist. In this famous clip, Charlie says that he gets nervous when he sees a black pilot.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Pretty cut and dry racism, right? Well, no. He says the only reason he thinks this is because of this DEI program from United. The implication being that United may have lowered standards in the name of diversity.
You wouldn't have done that before. That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't
That's
have done
not
that
who I
before.
am. That's
No.
not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has
But
created.
And that's more reasonable. No one wants pilots who can't do their job. But wait, what was the program that he's talking about? Turns out the statement that Charlie is referencing is a push by United to have women of color admissions in their flight school. Unlike any sort of hiring quota, this is in line with countless other organizations that do similar outreach and promotion campaigns to appeal to women and minorities who are historically kept out of these fields. See, it turns out that even though Martin Luther King ended racism and then disappeared under mysterious
He ended
circumstances,
racism.
keeping large demographics out of fields for centuries doesn't just change overnight. And sometimes women are told their whole life that girls can't do math, despite their ability to do it well, and they need a little extra encouragement to pursue their strengths in fields dominated.
Yeah, you go back to that chart. Jamie, rewind that.
Jamie, pause it right there. Percentage female in tech fields, except obviously in engineering, math, and computer science.
So it's mostly psychology is the highest one.
40%. Psychology, it's 80%. It's crazy. They like that though, I guess. Social sciences make sense. Life sciences, yeah, they have their. This is. I bet this is computer sciences by like, because I imagine like people in technology are like, um, boys, like young adult men, and they
Probably.
probably stink. Is that fair to say?
Probably, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
I think this is
I
like
think
technology. Otherwise, it would be like
most of this I think most of this is like those societal norms we have of you know, women being the more nurturing, the more caretakers. So of course they're gonna be the psychologists, they're gonna be the life science, they're gonna go into stuff like that because that's what society kind of has formed around, right?
yes. We live in a society.
Not saying that's how it should be, but I think that's how.
It's dominated by nerdy, socially awkward men who
Exactly.
drool
Hey,
over
that's
the
what I just
10
said.
smart girls in their class of
Right.
400 like a pit bull drools on a toddler dunked in honey. So is Charlie racist for looking at a black pilot and praying he knows what he's doing, or sexist if he does the same with a woman? Yes.
Damn, I was gonna pause it and we could have like a answer the question, but you just said yes.
I don't want LaQuisha
I mean,
James.
here's the thing, right? You can be like that, but with any pilot. I can like be in the airport and be like, "Oh man, I hope this guy knows what he's doing." I hope
Yeah, I don't even have to
because
see him.
I think there's other way that you could get up to being a pilot that is beyond just your race or gender, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I.
nepotism, for example,
Mhm.
oh, your dad was a famous pilot and you want to be a pilot? Well, we're just going to put you right in, even though you don't know anything,
It's
right?
true. They.
And that's just one example. There's other examples, but
Oh.
I think there's other ways that people can like get up to being a pilot without being very qualified. So I don't think he's bad for looking at a pilot and saying, "Oh man, I really hope they know what they're doing. I hope they're not gonna crash the plane."
Yeah, they're talking about DEI in the cockpit specifically though, which I don't know.
They are
Might
specifically
have been
talking
good to
about,
it might have been good to
yeah,
pause on this.
Program that
people
he's
being
talking
put in
about.
those
Turns out
positions specifically for diversity.
Yeah, which would um
Which in my eyes,
you
that
know
is like not a good practice. I think
I was gonna say
it
like
should
that's
be
that's
completely
bullshit.
regardless of, race or gender. If
But
you are
like, okay,
qualified
guys,
enough to be a pilot and you want to be a pilot, then you can be a pilot. But you have to be qualified enough. You have to be trusting,
kind of heavily
or you have to be
trusted.
trusted
Yeah, at least
with the
50%
lives
of
of like 100 people.
do and plan to. Yeah, because I guess it's yeah. For the lie, it's really bad to push people in. Just
Right. That's
it's
why
so
I
bad.
I am in general
That's
not
yeah.
a big fan of diversity quotas because I think it pushes out people that are generally more qualified for those
They're like
jobs.
they're
Now,
doing
if the
this.
people that are qualified, in this case, if the people that are qualified to be pilots are like black men and women,
Yeah.
then that's fine. But if they aren't, but they just put them in to be pilots for diversity, that's I don't agree.
I think well, most of this would probably be from women because there's just more of them than people of color. Um, but yeah, they should have instead of doing this, you should just like slowly back on the societal norms if they want to do this.
Right.
That like make a slower effort instead
Sort
of
of try to get rid of your prejudice or get rid of your prejudice against, gender. The idea of, oh, women can't fly plane. I mean, that's not really like a typical societal norm, but you know what I mean.
or that they should do like
But
more that
that they
there's
should be in the
covered
house, that they should
areas
be a housewife,
or
You should be cleaning the
yeah.
house. Yeah. I mean,
See, United will train 5,000
I mean-
pilots who will be guaranteed after they. I mean, they're still doing a bunch of stuff. So, but it is.
Okay,
It does
well,
feel like
I guess if you read
by
this,
2030. Yeah.
that 5,000 pilots who will be guaranteed a job with United after they complete the requirements of the aviate program. Okay, so I'm assuming this is talking about half of the pilots who they will train are going to be women or people of color. Not, oh yeah, half of our pilots from now on are going to be people of color. I mean, it says they're guaranteed a job, but that doesn't always have to be a pilot. And besides, if someone starts falling behind in like flying school or pilot school or whatever it's called, I mean, they're going to be given more help, right?
Yeah. This makes a lot more sense. For women.
If you read the entire quote,
Yeah. Also, if you read the whole thing.
if you read the entire quote, it makes more sense. They're not shoehorning people in to be pilots because, well, they kind of are, but at the same time, it's not in the case of, oh, well, they're going to do it regardless of if they're qualified or not. No, they're going to make sure they're qualified first.
This is moderately well paced too by 2030, so it's not
Right.
shoving people in real quick.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh.
A Harvard-style affirmative action student that has points for, and he landed half of his flight simulator, trials.
No, he just made something up about half of them failing. Seeing as it's his job to substantiate his statements, maybe he could do a cursory Google search and find that there's no research.
What does this mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I don't know what this means.
Oh, this is the
crashes and injuries by year. So this is just plane crashes up until 2019, and it's just going down.
Serious injuries, minor injuries. So fatal injuries on a plane?
I mean, pilots are just getting better. I don't know why it spiked that one specific year. That doesn't make any sense. In 1996 or something.
Also, what's the difference between serious injury? Wait, so serious is in between these two. And these.
Just like a broken arm or something. A broken arm isn't going to kill you, but it's serious.
They're only counting plane crashes, injuries on the plane crash. So
aviation crashes and injuries by year. Yeah.
Interesting graph. I'm not really sure about how to read this graph because the aviation crashes.
What this is telling me is that year by year, it's getting safer and safer to fly planes.
Yeah, look at this,
But to be fair, that could be a byproduct of the complete reverse of back in the 80s and even before them, like the 70s, right? There was more racism. There was more prejudice towards people and sexism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe people were getting excluded out when they could be perfectly capable of being a pilot, of qualifying and being a pilot, but they're being excluded specifically because of their race or their gender. But now, because that's lightening up.
Things on the planet, and to even
now because of that, it's
after failing half their flight simulations is so ridiculous that only someone with a predetermined position on race would say it. Okay, did he acknowledge that he was judging current day black pilots on a program for students who aren't currently pilots?
Wait, hold on a second. You're gonna remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian?
No. So he's judging someone based on the color of their skin, either based on complete ignorance or purposefully lying? I don't know. Sounds like racism to me. But what does his frequent co-host, Jack Prosobiec, say? The man who posts Nazi dog whistles all the time.
This is an incident that actually happened. The pilot allowed his 15-year-old son and his 13-year-old daughter to take the controls and were flying the plane itself and literally flew the plane into a mountain in Russia and killed everyone on board.
Oh, he compared black and female pilots to children. Any pushback there, Charlie?
That happened? Wait, what? He just gave the controls of the plane over to his kids?
And then they just crashed it.
And they just crashed into a mountain and everyone died.
Charlie referred to prominent black women like Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, Kamala Harris, and Ketanji Brown.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
What?
Jackson saying,
if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Affirmative action, regardless of whether or not you think it's currently justified, was meant to rectify past injustices for people like Jackson, someone who was born 6 years after the end of segregation and 4 years before women were allowed to have a credit card. Now, maybe Charlie didn't like these black women just because of their politics. I hate Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell, but never once when I criticize them do I say, hey, fuck you, Colin Powell. You lied us into the Iraq war and got hundreds of thousands of innocent people killed. And furthermore, you stole that Iraq war and got hundreds of
It's all for the oil.
thousands
all
of
for the
innocent
oil.
people killed. And furthermore, you stole that position from a more qualified white guy who would have lied better and gotten more people killed. That's because Colin Powell has several degrees and years of experience. And not once did it cross my mind that he's only there because he's black. Because I'm not a racist. And just in case you had any doubt, here's all of those people's qualifications that are being ignored by a dipshit
Okay,
college
but
dropout.
yeah. I don't doubt that they have, like, I don't doubt that Michelle
Here's all
Obama
of
has
those people-
fantastic qualifications. Or anyone.
People's qualifications that are being ignored by a dipshit college dropout. It's like that only thing
He
that
did
Martin
drop out
Luther
of
King
college.
said that Republicans will quote, judge someone by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Right, Charlie?
Kirk describes King as,
Right.
quote, a bad guy. It's true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong.
You know what? I gotta give Charlie props here. At least he's being consistent. All those other Republicans pretend to lionize MLK, but at least Charlie realizes that MLK would have hated the current day Republican Party and everything they stand for, speaking his true beliefs instead of using MLK as a prop. Oh, wait, actually TPUSA did do that because they used to sell MLK shirts and stickers. There's no need to look at this deeply. Charlie finally decided to read past that one quote and realized that MLK would have supported DEI and socialism, so he doesn't like him. And this isn't really racist on its face. He's actually judging MLK's views. But one of those views is his support of the Civil Rights Act.
And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
Yeah, so Charlie often said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake because it led to things that he doesn't like today, like affirmative action and DEI.
MLK, in my personal opinion and based on every objective analysis, he actually gave us more race focus and less emphasis on character and conduct. His core driving philosophy was not about a colorblind society. That is a line in one of his speeches. He would actually be closer to a race Marxist, almost akin to a DEI type philosopher if you go deep into his writings, especially later in his life.
But you know what I'd do if I thought the Civil Rights Act led to downstream effects that I didn't like? I would say, hey, I don't like those downstream effects. Let's change those. Not the legislation that ended segregation was a mistake.
Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
It's like me complaining that anime exists by saying that rebuilding Japan was a mistake. But we should have dropped more bombs. So yeah, these are some of the bigger examples of Charlie's racism, and we can casually throw in
That's
forcing
actually a
his
good
employees
point.
to go to work
That's a
on
decent-
federal
that's a
holiday
pretty
because
good
it's
point.
one that celebrates black liberation, confusing a Sikh person for Muslim in his Islamophobic rant, a thing you do if you're only judging them on the color of their skin, or saying that Zohran Mamdani getting elected is akin to the 9/11 attacks.
Oh,
Okay.
he would have hated.
Yeah,
that.
it's,
He would have hated that if he was with us.
yeah.
And basically
I mean,
everything else he
so-
said about
some of this
Muslims.
is
And for all you guys saying that Islamophobia
a
isn't
little
racism,
radical.
sure, technically,
Like,
but show me the
Mamdani
Republican
being elected
rant
is
about
not
Albanian
equal to
Muslims.
9/11 and 3,000 people dying. You know,
I'll believe you. Before we move on, I do want to talk about women for a second. You may think I'm going to bring up that clip where he says women should be forced to carry their rapist's baby. But you know what? I again respect that take from him. And not because I agree. Obviously, abortion restrictions put women in danger and are
I'm not gonna sit here and get into abortion because that's a very, very sensitive topic. So
Right.
horrible and have made the strip club way more expensive for me. But at least he has the intellectual
plus
consistency.
I am
to say
also
what other
someone,
Republicans
like,
are
as a
wrong.
man, I
If you
don't think
think
it's
abortion after
necessarily my
millisecond
place to
zero is
take
murder,
on
then
it
why would it be
at this
okay?
point, so.
Level 1 Mafia boss versus.
To murder a baby just because the father was a bad person. All the Republicans who make exceptions are saying, well, it's okay to kill babies sometimes if the mother is upset enough. Also, please support my campaign to free Casey Anthony. No, Charlie's view on women that I want to highlight are these.
This is
I
something
don't know who that
hope
is.
I don't understand that.
will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. And no, seriously.
Okay, I kind of want to see that whole clip. That previous clip, him talking about Taylor Swift, that felt like a snippet of a clip. I kind of want to see that whole quote.
His view on
No, he only put like a snippet of it. It
Reject
feels
feminism.
like in it.
Bitcoin.
Argue to your
Never mind.
to
let's
Bro,
not
back
get into
Taylor.
that. Well, this is a 2020 picture. Which is not long ago.
Doesn't it feel like this clip ends a little abruptly? This one we were talking about Taylor
I
Swift.
think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. And
I'm saying I don't think that's the whole quote. I kind of want to see like the whole quote behind that.
I hate when people do
But
that. But it's just how these edited videos are.
And no, seriously, just be clear. That's why you're going to college, right? Don't lie to yourself. Like, don't like, oh, I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. And that's okay. You will find a husband.
Ultimately, Charlie advocated for a world where women are subjugated by men, abandon any freedom and independence, and are as educated as he is. Now, maybe that's because he spent his life around Republican women, including his wife, but at the very least, he should have judged them like me, as equally vapid and moronic as the rest of the party. But seeing his wife in a position of power as the TP USA CEO must have Charlie rolling in his grave. Luckily, as per his philosophy, one brave man just needs to marry her and she'll submit to his will, so he can tell her to make TP USA progressive. I think I have the perfect volunteer. Let's talk about Ezra Klein. Oh, you thought this was a exclusively shit on right-wingers video? Well, what would a left-wing stance be without some left-wing infighting? I'm not an Ezra Klein hater by any means. I actually liked Abundance and a good deal of his liberal takes, but his Charlie Kirk stance was not one of his good ones. Clearly, we've seen that Charlie had some pretty abhorrent views on some of the most mistreated non-gamer demographics in our country. Charlie didn't have disagreements on how taxes should work, but rather open contempt and ill will towards millions of people. So what does Ezra say about this? Well, he wrote a piece in the New York Times called "Charlie Kirk was practicing politics the right way." Kirk was practicing politics in exactly the right way. He was showing up to campuses and talking with anyone who would talk to him. Ezra contrasts this with a bunch of examples of horrible political violence to show what the wrong way is, essentially giving Charlie brownie points for not throwing Molotov cocktails at people. It's a pretty low bar there, Ezra, especially considering Charlie bussed people to the January 6th events and continued to support the president after his attempted steal of the election. But I don't know, maybe Ezra's not a journalist who needs to keep track of these things. But let's actually look at the low bar that Ezra set. He was showing up to campuses and talking with anyone who would talk to him. I don't know how Ezra hasn't caught on to this gimmick that has been happening for a decade, but let's talk about these Republican pundit debate tactics. I don't like the narrative that college kids aren't smart. Most of them are smarter than any of these Republican pundits, but these debates aren't a battle of wits. They're a battle of rhetoric, and college kids usually aren't prepared for that. It's not your idea versus my idea. It's how can I make you look as wrong as possible, and then
it's like he's just
it is also a good point he's making. I don't think I'd be able to. I usually can't debate anyone in anything, much less someone who's like very much trained in debating. So
yeah, just picking random college kids. Oh yeah,
well, to be fair, the college kids came up to him to debate him. He didn't pick out random people off the street and said, "Hey, you there, come talk to me." It was voluntary.
and clip that for propaganda. This is what Charlie did, and that's why anyone under the age of 25 knows who he was. Reels, TikToks, and clips meant to exclusively make Charlie look good. When he loses debates, he just lies in the title about his opponent insulting him, which never happened, unless you count being made to look like a moron and insult.
What would your example, because I have 50, of a single Christian country that you would say mistreats women, right?
America.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We had a female woman vice president. We had a female vice president, a female speaker of the House. Women earn more than men in America.
In Rwanda, female representation in government
wait.
supersedes.
Women earn more than men in America?
That
The UK by quite.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but I guess that wouldn't shock me.
That's the first time.
It also kind of depends on what time this debate took place, but
It was like, I guess, some sort of like average.
yeah, it'd be average.
They definitely go into more better jobs faster sometimes.
Women get treated better.
They'll get out of like entry level jobs faster. Men will sometimes
Entry level.
Rwanda?
Okay,
He also took down the clip of him losing a debate to a Republican vegan. Crowder took down his debate of losing to a socialist, and Knowles, to my knowledge, never aired the after show that I went on, presumably because I made him look dumb. Because they don't care about letting the best ideas win. They want to manufacture the environment to ensure that their ideas look the best. It's not the marketplace of ideas. It's like if Walmart put a black bag on your head and walked you into a specific aisle and then said, "This is the only fruit we have. All the other fruit is rotten. Don't go check and see if the other fruit is rotten. Just take my word for it." And no, Ezra, he wasn't talking to anyone who would talk to him. He blacklisted the Unfuck America tour from attending his events.
Turning Point has cancelled all of UNF America's credentials, and now they're trying to sneak in Destiny so he can debate inside here.
Because when rhetorically practiced people talk to him, they make him look stupid.
The Senate is technically DEI in a certain sense for like small states.
Is the Electoral College and the Senate based on race?
It's predicated off of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So your argument is that the U.S. Senate is a DEI? I gotta be honest, I've never heard that argument. I think it's a little silly, but...
How is it silly? Argue against it instead of just saying it's silly.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a single instance in corporate America where DEI is implemented where diversity means anything other than skin color diversity?
Diversity?
No, it's not about viewpoint.
Women.
What? Fine. How about chromosome or diversity or skin color?
So skin color, there's gender, you have to move the goalpost a little bit because you got destroyed there.
So yeah, if this is politics the right way, only because it's not violent, congratulations, Charlie, you didn't punch anyone. But I think we should have higher standards than being a total propagandist who will lie, omit, and obfuscate to spread their message, regardless of what that message is. But on the note of...
We gotta hurry up, guys. We gotta hurry up.
Message. Let's talk about political violence and whether or not calling Charlie a fascist incited it, because people are blaming his death on the rhetoric from the left.
Fascist regime. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. So how did America confront fascism in World War II? We went to war.
Actually, Jesse, we kind of ignored it for 6 years and then tepidly supported our allies for another 2 before a completely different country forced us into the war. Now, ignoring the fact that the right wing calls the left fascists all the time.
Destroy our Second Amendment attack, the right to life, and replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. Left wing, we're going left wing all the way. Fascists, they are fascists.
And the fact that fascism isn't a light switch between democracy and 1944 Germany, so calling someone fascist doesn't justify D-Daying them.
Fascist.
Accurate. Call fascist. I think the more important...
What?
Fascists, they are fascists.
Question is, does it even matter? You can go through the tenets of fascism and meticulously explain how Charlie matches up with them, but ultimately it feels a little fruitless. Because every time I try to define fascism, someone always jumps out of the woodwork and points out that Charlie wasn't literally Joseph Goebbels, so my definition is wrong. Does it matter that he supported all of Trump's authoritarian power grabs and attempts to overturn democracy, that he frequently called for a Christian theocracy?
Again, there is no separation of church and state. It's a fabrication, it's a fiction, it's not in the Constitution. It's made up by secular humanists. Of course we should have church and state mixed together.
That he was vehemently anti-intellectual, or idealized a mythical American past, that he opposed legal immigration, and promoted the racist Great Replacement theory.
The Great Replacement strategy, which is well underway every single day on our southern border, is a strategy to replace white rural America with something different.
People are going to attack me just for saying he's a racist, which I think is demonstrably true. But since he's not as racist as someone else, now it's my fault for using words correctly. If I call David Duke or Nick Fuentes racist, which they objectively are, I'm not calling for them to be attacked. So it's irrelevant whether or not my analysis of Charlie's is accurate. Of course, Charlie Kirk isn't Joseph Goebbels. That's Stephen Miller. That said, I'm not going to refrain from accurately describing someone's politics just in case some crazy person decides to reenact a bot-filled TF2 lobby. And it looks especially inane when you see the way Republicans were calling for civil war after the Charlie incident.
The left is losing the battle of ideas. Violence is a last resort. They're trying to silence us.
Hey, buddy, I want you to shut the fuck up, but I'm not going to hurt you to make it happen. Because if there's one thing in the article that I did agree with Ezra Klein on, it was that political violence is a virus and shouldn't be normalized. That said, while I think celebrating or encouraging more political violence is bad, it's okay to be happy that bad people are gone. on. As we've seen, Charlie spread some of the worst ideas to millions of people. He's responsible for making the country worse for all of the aforementioned groups. So when leftists or trans people or black people or women or anyone who had to listen to this guy or his fans or deal with the legislation that he helped pass celebrate when he's not doing it anymore, yeah, I get it. If you had a bully who made your life worse in every way and he was killed by a drunk driver, that doesn't make drunk driving okay, but you don't have to pretend to be sad that your bully is gone. You're even allowed to be happy.
Charlie Kirk is horrible? Yes, I'm glad he's not here. You're glad he's dead? Yes. I do the exact same thing. Would you be glad if I would die? Maybe. Your friend just said she'd be happy if I died.
And God forbid people joke about it, like the right hasn't been spamming George Floyd memes for 5 years, or Trayvon Martin, or Paul Pelosi, or trans people, etc., etc. What you shouldn't be happy about is political violence. The reason political violence is bad is because it creates an environment where people don't believe in democracy as an institution, and where violence is the only meaningful form of communication. Who cares about voting if your preferred candidate might die in office? Who cares about the marketplace of ideas if the marketplace is as dangerous as an American school on the same day that Charlie Kirk was shot? You shouldn't want to live in a world where opinions are expressed through violence, because no one is insulated from the consequences, and we may as well not have politics at that point. This killing did nothing for the anti-Charlie Kirk movement, in part because it helped radicalize the very people that Charlie supported. They tried to use it to take gun rights away from trans people and to pass intrusive hate speech laws. But also did nothing because Charlie Kirk was not uniquely interesting. Rather, he was shockingly mediocre. Sure, he was successful, but what makes him better than any other billionaire-funded Republican pundit? They're already trying to replace him with Ryland Holihan, another half name like a British dude. I think
What's filling up? Is it getting faster?
All right, that's about it. See ya.